Hi, I'm Amanda and I'm going to be cooking for you today some scrolls, perfect for lunchboxes. I do a couple of different flavours because my scroll connoisseurs always give me feedback and like to change up different varieties all at the same time, and with 4 kids that eat them, they all like different flavours as well. So when I do cook them, I usually actually do 2 batches and then I do a variety of mixtures. Sometimes I do just cheese scrolls, sometimes I do ham and cheese, sometimes I do Vegemite and cheese, and the other one I often do is like pizza scrolls, so using a tomato-based sauce with ham and cheese as well. So they're the ones that I usually do. They freeze great as well if you actually ever get any into the freezer. So today I'm going to be showing you how to do it. It's super simple, so let's get to it. Okay, so I'm just going to go to my week because I've actually got it saved in there. Now you'll notice this scrolls recipe is the 3 cheese spinach scrolls. Now I have made a few different scrolls recipes and my kids think these are the best. If I actually put 3 cheeses and spinach in them, they'd probably go bleh. So I use the mixture, but I change it up a bit. So I'm going to go through that with you today. So let's start by cooking. Line a large baking tray with baking paper and set aside. I've done that as well. Press next. I'm going to press next a few times because I'm not actually putting the cheeses in. If you did want to grate up some cheese for your cheese scrolls, for example, this is the time to do it now as well. So I'm just going to keep pressing next. I'm not going to put any spinach in because they'll go blur. Okay, so I actually start from step 10, which is adding 300 grams of water. So we'll see how close I can get it. Oh, just over, that's all right. All good. Pressing next. 2 teaspoons of dried instant yeast. I'll just use this one. 2 teaspoons of that. Pop it in. I usually make sure I pop it into the water, make sure it's not fallen onto the blade. Clicking next. 20 grams of olive oil. Thereabouts. I don't actually put salt in it, but you can put a bit of salt in there if you'd like. Okay, let's get the lid. And I'm just going to cook that for 2 minutes. It's going to warm the yeast into the water with the olive oil as well. So it's warming that at 37 degrees and that'll take about 2 minutes. Okay, so that's done. Just pressing next. Just going to take the lid off. I'm going to tear it back to 0 so that I can pop in the baker's flour. It's about 500 to 520 grams that it's after. I usually get a good 12 to 15 scrolls out of this batch, depending on how big I make them as well. Okay, 520. Okay, next, I'm going to pop the lid off and turn it to speed 5 for about 5 seconds. It's just going to combine all the bread and some of the baker's flour with the yeast mixture. Pressing next. And now I'm going to knead it for 1 minute. Now whenever you're kneading using the Thermomix, make sure you stay with your Thermomix because it can jump around a little bit. You don't need to jump and bounce off your bench. So I always stay in the bottom. Let's do that. Okay, just pressing next. Now it says to transfer the dough onto a silicone bread mat or floured work surface and work into a ball. There's your dough. I'm going to cheat that step and do it in my hands. Click next. Wrap in a silicone bread mat, so you can use a Thermomix bread mat for that, or place into a bowl with a bit of olive oil. I pop that in there and cover with a kitchen towel. You can do a kitchen towel or you can use Glad wrap as well. One great tip I have if you are covering it with Glad wrap is to pop a bit of olive oil underneath the Glad wrap so that it doesn't stick. Just under there. And then try and find a warm spot for it. So leave to prove in a warm space until doubled in size, about half an hour, depending on how warm it is in your house. So I'll just leave that there, ready to warm and prove. Now, one thing I do love about the scrolls is, because I'm feeding lots of kids, but also to freeze as well, is the cost saving involved with the scrolls. Like if I was to buy a 6-pack of ham and cheese or ham and cheese and bacon scrolls from Baker's Delight or something like that, it would cost me about $7, $7.50. I can make 12 to 15 for about $5, maybe less. So there's heaps of savings there. So once that's proven, I'll come back and show you how I roll them up into scrolls. See you soon. Okay, welcome back. My dough has proven. I actually made 2 batches. So I'm now going to roll out my dough. Just hold the camera. Okay, so just going back to the recipe, I'd like to resume my last recipe. Okay, so we've left to prove, we've knocked down the dough and rolled it into a large rectangle, and we've done all our bits and pieces, and we put it on a baking tray. We've used a sharp knife to cut it. I actually get more than 12, which is more of a bonus. Now place into a cold oven and bake for 20-25 minutes at 200 degrees. Okay, well the final product is finished. It's come out of the oven and they're just cooling now before I'm sure the kids will attack them after dinner. And then I'll pop them in a container, an airtight container, ready for tomorrow when we're heading out. And any left over, if I'm lucky, will go in the freezer. Check these out. So we've got just plain cheese on the bottom, ham and cheese at the top, and then we've got the Vegemite cheese and the pizza ones as well. So loads and loads of scrolls there, ready for the kids to enjoy.